guys, it's Jean back with another video. If this is your first time ever seeing my face, please hit the subscribe button down below to join the G gang. If not, then hey girl, hey, and let's get straight into the video. Today is Saturday, so for the people who are already part of the G gang, basically you guys already know that today is going to be story time Saturday. And also, if you guys have not noticed, we have hit 1,000 subscribers. Can you believe? And I just wanted to let people know that we are having a giveaway, and that will be in the iCard. There will be a whole separate video on the giveaway, so on how to enter and what the prizes, and it's monetary. So it's just a little appreciation for you guys for helping me come this far. I just really wanted to say thank you, honestly, from the bottom of my heart. But let's get straight into the story time. So this story time is going to be about the time I was admitted into the mental hospital for the second time. Now, I just want to give a disclaimer. This is going to be talking about, like, obviously the mental hospital, how I got admitted, why I got admitted, and basically how did I get here. Basically, I was a junior in college. Like I said, I was already admitted prior. And when I say like I was admitted prior, I was probably like admitted a month before. And this was during the school year, as I said. So this wasn't on a break. This was during my actual school year I got admitted. But the reason why I went the second time was basically also the reason I went the first time. Not fully the same, but basically the same. So the week that I went into the hospital for the second time had to be the lowest week of my life, like mentally wise. Like I was just an all-time low. Like I felt like I was the scum of the earth, and I just felt like trash. And I'm not really gonna go too into it, just for the sake of like maybe in the future I'll be more comfortable sharing this story, but I'm gonna just give the gist of what it was. So I was basically in this long denial for probably 4 months on what was going on in my love life or my relationship life, or just like with guys in general, because my mindset was already pretty bad. Like I already knew like I had some like mental issues prior to all of this going on, but like in the sense of like I'm just super depressed, but I didn't know like the extent of it. And looking back on it now, no normal person would have done the things that I did. I've also never really talked about this in depth like this to anybody, even though I'm not going to be going crazy in depth. Still, it's something I've just never talked about with anybody, so please bear with me, guys, because I'm not going to get emotional because I'm kind of over it. Like I've talked about it with myself in my head a whole bunch of times. It's just so embarrassing. Like sometimes I wish I could just forget it, but at the same time, the only reason why I'm telling this story is because I feel like a lot of people will be able to learn from my dumb mistakes that I've made in my life. Basically, I was in this situationship, and that's honestly the only thing I feel like I could ever call it, because it wasn't a relationship. It wasn't anything, to be honest. I don't know what it was. It was just, I don't know. Like literally, that's how stupid I feel now. Like I don't know what it was. I should have never, I don't know. Y'all, if you guys want a story time on what I'm talking about, like it's just so embarrassing, just comment red hearts if you want it. But basically my situationship, the best way I could describe it was that I had a lot of lust for this one guy. I don't even know if I really liked him, because he was just everything that was the opposite of me. And I think that's why I don't even understand it till this day. Like what the heck? This guy was, honestly, looking at it now, he was basically a loser in my opinion. He's already been locked up. He had no job at the time. I don't know. I mean, he did, but it was an illegal job. He smoked every day, and like I basically did his homework for him. How embarrassing is that? I was a stupid person, and I had lost my friends over this situationship, basically, because they saw like what was really happening, and I wasn't trying to see it. Knowing that my mindset wasn't already good and I put myself in this toxic situation, of course my mindset is just going to decline even more being in this most negative situation. I put this person before myself when in any healthy situation, you're gonna always remember yourself first, whether it be with your family, your friends, or your boyfriend. And to this day, I don't know why I liked him at all. Like, I don't know why. I just don't understand what was going on in my head, honestly, y'all. Like, that was just so stupid. Like, I wish I could like shake myself back in the day. And to top things, he also had another girl who I'm not even gonna tell like their business. That's their situation. That has nothing to do with me, honestly. But as soon as I found that out, I should have left. But again, I didn't, because I felt like I had invested so much into this situationship, like doing his homework, staying up late hours of the night for him, giving him money when I didn't even have money myself, just doing all the things that I could that I thought he wanted me to do in hopes that he would eventually like me back. But that sounds so stupid, honestly. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm saying this aloud. In this point in time that I'm going to be telling you about, I was basically living with him. Like, the week that I was supposed to, like, that I ended up going to the hospital, I was living with him. I say technically living with him, maybe because like I didn't move everything in there, but I was there every day. But I also still had my apartment. So at times in the story, I'm gonna be referencing to like myself today, because it's like, why would I just not the fuck go home? I don't know. And I mean, I know why I wouldn't go home, but like, Gia today would have just took herself home. Like, Gia today don't take nobody's bullshit at all. Also, looking back today, he was using me. To make a long story short, he was just using the hell out of me. He was using me for my money and every other way that women usually get taken advantage of. So I was being taken advantage of. He used to make me feel like I was trash because he would flirt with other girls directly in front of me and make advances on other girls. Like, who stays in something like that? But I did, because I was dumb. So at the time, I knew that he was taking advantage of me, but I just really honestly did not care. My parents knew of him, and of course nobody's parents would like somebody like that for their daughter. So they really honestly just really despised the man, which if I was them, I wouldn't like him either. But no matter how much they tried, I just wasn't listening to my parents at all. Like, I didn't care what they were saying. And me and my parents' relationship honestly wasn't that close. I thought that they just wanted to control my life, which now, being my mindset now, my parents just wanted to make sure I was good. They've always made sure that I was good, because honestly, the parents that I had that stuck with me through all the bullshit that I've done in my life, a lot of other people's parents would have been left. But anyway, now that you have like the background of what was going on in my life at that time, we can kind of like fast forward to that whole week, because it was like the lowest time of my life. And I can go more into depth of why it was, but for now I'm just gonna like not. Basically, dealing with this guy and also not having the proper care that I needed after my first hospitalization. Like, I had no therapy, which was because my social worker at the time had given me the wrong therapist in the wrong area. So I wasn't able to get in with another therapist for like a whole other month. Also, my medication, I wasn't taking my medication regularly, because it was like when I was taking it for that month, because I had a month's supply, I wasn't feeling any better, not knowing that it takes some time for it to actually make you feel better, or for you to even see a difference. So I didn't really care. I was just like, nah, like, I'm not gonna take my medication and I'm not seeing therapy, which brings you back to the same mindset eventually. So I was right back where I was mentally wise. I was being mistreated by this guy, and I just felt like I was the scum of the earth. I was already like planning on how and when I would kill myself, like waiting it out to see if I really wanted to do it, because like I wasn't sure, and that should have been like a big sign that I actually didn't want to do it. Because when everything was okay, when I say okay, I mean like I wasn't actively thinking about it, I felt like my life was fine. But as soon as something happened, it's like, okay, I want to kill myself, so let's just get this over with. So that week, like I said, I was living with him, and the one friend that I had kept, she was convincing me for that day to go out to church with her, because like I just needed to get my mind away from this person who was just mistreating me. Fast forward, after church, he was accusing me of stealing money from him. I said, what? In my head, I'm like, bro, I give you money. I buy the food in this house. I cook. And you're accusing me of stealing your money? Never. And it wasn't even like a little bit of money. It was like cash. Like $200 worth of cash. Mind you, I also wasn't working, so whatever money I was like using, it was from my parents. My parents would give me money and I would just like, whatever I needed, my parents made sure that I had, even though I was in a bad state. My parents always make sure that I'm good at the end of the day. Like, I have a whole credit card and they give me cash whenever I need it. Like, that's how great my parents were, even though they really should have been like letting me struggle. But I've never ever stolen in my entire life. Like, that's just not in my character. I don't steal. Like, I'm literally living in your house. I feel like I'm the lowest life in the world and I'm gonna steal from you. That's one thing I can say from like to this day, like I would never do in my life, and that is steal. He's accusing me of stealing and telling me to get the fuck out. So now that I'm like looking back, I think it was just his excuse of like saying like, oh, I stole money from him, so now I gotta leave. So like I said, I was already like in the mindset of I'm about to kill myself, but this just threw me over the edge. Like, this was too much emotionally. Like, I just felt like I should have already, like in my mindset now, I should have already been home, like at my apartment, but I'm still here trying to fight for this kid to like me. Like, how stupid is that? I just can't get over how stupid that sounds. And now, like, I feel like my pride is hurt, the pride that I don't even have at the time. I feel like my pride is hurt because he's telling me to get out, but like, I've done so much for you. Like, how? In my head, yo, you want to kick me out? Fine, I'm gonna get out, but I'm gonna kill myself. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, now all the money that I've invested in whatever this situationship in is for nothing, and I'm just gonna kill myself because I feel like I have nothing to live for. Like, my life was over, which it was far from being over. Like, there's so much in the world to live for. And like I said, if I was getting the help that I needed, I would have never been thinking this way. I end up pretending to grab my things. I end up taking my antidepressants. Mind you, like I said, I had stopped taking them, and I had only been taking them for like maybe a week, and then I stopped taking them. So there was still a lot in there. I was like, I'm gonna just take it. Take all of them right now, because like I'm just gonna kill myself, because like I don't give a fuck about life anymore. So I take them, calls the police. He doesn't call an ambulance. He doesn't call an ambulance. He calls the police on me. Isn't that crazy? So he calls the police on me. The police come. They say that there was a struggle in the house because everything is toppled over. He talks to the cops. Like, we talked to the cops separately, I believe. The cops call the ambulance after figuring out that it was a suicide situation. And the ambulance comes. Oh, did I mention, so when he called the cops, he also called my parents. So my parents were also on their way. My parents lived about an hour and a half away from me. Now, mind you, this is the second time that this is happening for my parents. My parents are just scared out of their mind. They don't know what's about to happen to me, whatever. Ambulance gets there. They get the rundown of what happened. Like, I tried to swallow my pills. I didn't end up swallowing them just for the fact that he made me throw them up, hence the struggle. They see that I've swallowed some pills, and they're like, we have to take you to the ambulance room. And plus, this is like a suicide call, so we gotta take you anyway. So they do. They take me in the ambulance, and all I remember it was that the cops were about to cuff him. He was about to be cuffed because of some other situation. Because what drug dealer calls the cops? Like, are you stupid? Now, prior to this, my first hospitalization, they did diagnose me with manic depression, which if you look at it now, it just means like bipolar, but I didn't know that, and nor did I care. I just wanted to get out. So if you guys have seen my first mental hospital video, basically I went to the first one for 8 days. So I basically knew the rundown of what was going to happen. When they took me to the emergency room, they explained that I'm going to have to stay for at least 72 hours. Mind you, my parents were also there with me, but they obviously could not stay with me for that long. They leave me for a while, as in like the nurses and them, and they're asking me, because their hospital doesn't have like a mental health unit, they're asking me like, where do I want to be sent to? And I'm just like, send me back to the original hospital that I was at. Even though it's like an hour and a half away, they have to transport me to wherever I say I want to be transported. So I just sent me back to the hospital that I was at, because I'm already familiar with what they do there. I liked it in the sense of like, it was doable. Like, I could do it. Like, it wasn't that bad there. They leave me for a few hours, and then they come back and tell me like, oh, they're actually full, we can't send you there, like they have no beds. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, okay, so where can I go? They're like, oh, we have a brand new mental health hospital 30 minutes away if you would like to go there. And I'm just like, sure, because I don't know nowhere else. And honestly, I just wanted to get the heck out of the emergency room because one, I wasn't able to take a shower, and I've at this point in time, I have been there for like almost 24 hours, and none of this time was counting toward my 72-hour hold. Like, so I was getting frustrated. So they come back and they're like, great, we're gonna get you there in a few hours. So I finally was able to fall asleep in the most uncomfortable bed. I had to be transported by ambulance. Like, I didn't even know that. Like, apparently, even if you can walk, they had to take you on a gurney. I think that's what it's called. They still had to take you on a gurney out of the hospital. They took me out on a gurney, strapped up, like as if something is like wrong with me, that I can't walk into the ambulance and be transported, but whatever. And it's like a 30-minute drive, like I had said. Mind you, I'm just trying to like do small talk with like the ambulance people because like I'm high-key scared. I'm going into a whole different facility that I've never been into, and it's just like the first time all over again. Like, I don't know what to expect. So they're doing a little bit of small talk with me, and I remember the lady telling me like, girl, you're gonna be fine. Like, I take antidepressants too. Like, it's not even an issue. Like, it's not as taboo as the world makes it seem, and it's actually really true. So we finally arrived there after what seemed like a very long time to me, even though it was actually very quick. It was only half an hour. And they wheel me in by the gurney, and then they drop me off because like that was the ambulance's job, just drop me off and they go back to their original hospital. And I'm in there and I'm just like, wow, it really is brand new. Like, it was white, it was clean. Not that the first hospital wasn't clean. The other hospital didn't seem like it was old. It just seemed like it was worn out. Like, you could tell like it was not worn out, but it was like worn. Like, if you can tell when clothes have been worn for a while. Like, you can tell like this hospital had just opened and it was just brand new. Like, I don't know how to explain it. First thing I met with a man. He's just getting all my information, writing things down, telling me things. He basically just gives me the rundown of what everyday life is like here, gets my information, and tells me like, oh, also I'm gonna be having to take your phone, which I already know. They don't allow phones in mental hospitals. They just don't do that. I feel like they should, like during certain hours, just for you to call your own friends and your family, because there's just so many numbers, or text people, because like in my opinion, I think that they should change that. Give me the rundown, and he's like, okay, just follow this nurse. And he makes me sign paperwork also, guys. He makes me sign paperwork so that, I don't know, I guess they're not held liable for some things. I don't know. I sign the paperwork and I go on my merry way. He takes me to meet this nurse. She basically tells me, okay, so this is the portion of everything where you basically gotta strip. So, well, not really strip, but I had to change out of the clothes that I was wearing. And also, she had to take all my jewelry because, again, they don't want you to hurt yourself. So they take all my jewelry, and then she leads me to where I'll be staying. So at this point in time, I already know I'm gonna have a roommate. But like I said, like I'm already not used to it, but like I already know like the rundown of how it goes. So like the first time that I went to a mental hospital, I was kind of scared that my roommate was gonna kill me because, again, it's for the mentally not stable. So you never know what's going to pop off. So this time I wasn't that afraid because they had already explained to me that there was 2 units in this hospital. Mind you, this hospital was huge. It was brand new, but again, they were just beginning to staff people, so they didn't really have a lot of people admitted for 1, and they didn't have a lot of staff for 2. So like obviously there wasn't going to be that many units. And so the first unit, which was the unit that I was on, it was for like not like the real hardcore, like I don't know how to explain it, like the people that were kind of like dangerous to themselves. Like it was more for like the people who had like depression, bipolar, sometimes schizophrenia, but like the ones that were not as harmful to other people. So they take me in my room with like a little bag of like essentials, like a towel, a toothbrush, because obviously I didn't come with those things. Like I didn't come willingly. Like I wasn't self-admitting myself. Like I mean, I did self-admit because I wasn't trying to be admitted by the hospital, just for the fact like that's on your record forever. I willingly admitted myself, but I would not have willingly came. So basically every day was the same. They'd wake you up 5 o'clock in the morning to take your temperature, which was the same as the other hospital. Temperature, your pulse, and I think that might have been it. Probably was one more thing I'm just missing. So 8 o'clock was breakfast. So if you didn't wake up in time to go to breakfast, you missed breakfast. And this time with this hospital, because it was so big, they didn't bring the breakfast to you. You'd have to come to the cafeteria. Now, like I said, I mentioned that there was 2 units in this part, because I said this was a huge hospital. It was meant to hold more people, but because it was so understaffed, they didn't take a lot of patients. So there was 2 units, and the other unit was more severe, like I had said prior. It was for people that were really more mentally sick. This mental hospital was way more disorganized than the other hospital, because like I said, like it was brand new. It was just trying to get its shit together, in the sense of like they would hold different activities at the same time. But I mean, I guess the more activities the better, but I feel like for everybody, like everybody should come to one cohesive like activity, because there's not a lot of us, but I feel like the more we get to socialize with people, it's like for the better. But that's not what happened. So, and also bedtime was always at a specific time as well. So after 10 o'clock you have to be in your room, and if you weren't, they closed all the facilities. After a day, I think my roommate was heading home, so I didn't really get to talk to her very much. I was very closed off. I didn't really talk to anybody really, because I just wanted to get the heck out. I felt like I shouldn't have been there, and I felt like during my whole stay, I only met with my doctor once, and that was the day I was deciding to leave, because my 3 days was up, and I already knew like after 3 days I can choose to leave. If they didn't say that I needed to stay, I was going to leave. And I knew I was doing everything that they wanted me to do, so I could have left. On my 3rd day, they were like, yep, she's good to go. Call her parents to come get her. And my parents came, and they picked me up, and I was out. I was gone. I wanted to get out of there as fast as possible. I did not want to be in there a single day. Like, that is not fun. Like, the hospital is not a fun place to be. It is not a nice place to be. It's not something to be proud of. You could only use the phones at certain times as well. And because this is why I said I feel like they should allow you to have your phones at certain times, because there's only 2 phones at this mental hospital. There was only 2 phones, and obviously when there's only a few hours you can call your family, so after a while everybody might be trying to get on the phone at the same time. Like, not that I really had anybody to call other than my family and one other person who actually really cared about me. But I had to wait a long time, and people can also call into this hospital, so it's like not only can you not get to the phone call, the phone might be ringing and it might not even be for you. So it's just like, when can I call? So I think that's something that they should change in the mental health system. Another thing I think that they should really change is like how many times the people see the patients, because it's like you want them to stay there, but you're not really meeting with them to make sure that they're doing any better. Like, what's up with that? So like I said, after my 3 days, I decided to get the heck out of there. Parents were called, they came and picked me up, and like I was immediately, that next week, I was immediately sent to therapy. I immediately was able to get a better prescription. My psychologist was able to identify quickly that I had bipolar disorder. Like, this was just what I needed the first time. I needed my parents to take my diagnosis way more serious, because they weren't taking it very serious in the first time. They're like, oh, she's fixed. She spent 8 days in the hospital. She's good. But like the second time, they're like, they took the proper precautions that they needed to in order to make sure that I got way better. So I immediately got the help that I needed. I immediately started feeling better about my life. With the help of my therapist as well, because I had a therapist and a psychologist, she was able to help me and point me on the right path that I needed to, that I wasn't really seeing on my own, because I was just so unhappy with my life that I just wasn't listening to anybody. But she was able to also help me see right from wrong. Not only was I had all the signs of bipolar disorder, I was getting tattoos in a very short span of time. I was getting piercings in a very short span of time. I was spending money and getting myself into debt in my credit cards just because I could. Spending money, I had a shopping spree when I shouldn't have had any shopping spree. I was just having manic episodes, and then after my manic episodes, I would just become depressed out of nowhere. So I was manic depressive. Highs and lows, that's bipolar disorder. You would also have mood swings, and I would have those all the time. I'm just like, I really want people to be more aware of this stuff. Like, if they say you have manic depression, you're bipolar. Like, straight up, that's all it is. But overall, in my opinion, my stay at the hospital the second time, I feel like overall it didn't help me. The first time it didn't help me, but I think it didn't help me because I didn't want to be helped. I put myself right back in the same situation that I was in the first time. I feel like if you're going to admit yourself, you're going to want to be, you need to want to be helped, or you're not going to get any better. I was admitted I didn't want the help, but as soon as I got out, I realized I needed the help, and that's when I really started taking my recovery very serious. I'm so sorry, you still hear my dog. He's snoring his life away. I hope what people get from this story is that, you know, not like the story that brought me into the hospital. I hope that they take it that they start taking mental health seriously. Like, this could be happening to your uncle, your sister, your brother, your aunt, your grandpa, anybody. Like, it's really a sad disease. Mental illness, depression, bipolar, borderline personality disorder, all of it is really serious, and people take their lives from it every day. People don't see how serious it is until it gets to this level, because I'm sure if I had realized that I had it from such a young age, I could see now that I've always had it. Some morals of the story that don't let it be okay for people to take advantage of you, and know that your family is always doing the best thing for you. And I know it may be hard to listen to right now, but actually very important to remember. 2, your parents are most likely always right. If you're having suicidal thoughts, please talk to somebody. Talk to anybody, a friend, your parents, a health professional, anybody. Please talk to somebody if you are having suicidal thoughts, suicidal ideation, or are thinking about hurting yourself. That's the biggest one, honestly. And lastly, try to love yourself. If you can't love yourself, at least try to. Pick up good hobbies. Surround yourself with positive people that want to see you do well. Pick up a hobby, read a book, do something positive for yourself. Love yourself. Don't be manic and do something that would make you feel good for the time being. No, do something that is positive for yourself and you can continue to do, something that's not monetary wise, something that's a hobby. And that's really the end of the story. So I am just going to finish putting my highlighter on and put my eyelashes on and do my lip combo, and I will be right back with you guys. And this is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was a very close story to my heart. It was very tough to talk about, which is why, even though I wrote notes, it still was all over the place. I hope you guys did enjoy it. Like, comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.